Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Okay, this is the bit where one of us looks like a moron, one of us looks like a genius, and the other one's Paddy. We're doing Premier League predictions. We're going to start with top six.
Hey, you. Click that subscribe button. It means a lot.
I'm not going to look like an idiot. I'm just going to look like me. So I don't know
Half
if
the
that's...
course.
Yeah, exactly. So it's standard. So for my top six this season, I'm going to be really boring and say that Man City are obviously going to be in it. I think they're going to win the league again.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Oh.
I think Arsenal have invested really well. They've signed Declan Rice, who I think will just be an excellent midfield option for them. I think they'll still be up there challenging. Maybe not as close as last season, but they'll still be up there. They'll have Champions League football to compete with. And they've signed Kai Havertz, so I don't really know why. As well as that, Man United, they've improved areas that they needed to improve. They signed the goalkeeper. I think they'll be in top six as well. Liverpool finished the season tremendously well. I think they'll finish there as well. They've lost a lot of midfielders, but they've signed McAllister, Dominic Solbozai. I think that's how you say his name. And I think
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
And I think they will improve. They've got so many attackers. They've got goals galore. So I think that's something to consider. Chelsea as well. I think they're going to get top six. This is not me saying they get top four, but I think they'll get top six. I think they've signed well. The issue is in Nkunku getting injured, and they still have Romelu Lukaku still there. As well as that, my shout for the top six will be, for the final participant in that top six, is Aston Villa. They've signed tremendously well under Unai Emery last season. One of the best teams in the league. One of the form teams. They've signed Moussa Diaby. They've signed Pau Torres. They've signed Yuri Tielemans. They already have a great team. Generally, I just think they're my shout for the top six. There's obviously a few teams missing there, but that's my top six. What about yourself?
Newcastle are missing. Spurs are missing. Yeah. Brighton are missing. I don't know. Villa worries me.
I think the thing is with the teams which miss out there, I think obviously if you look at Spurs, they're in transition. That's something you have to consider. And then
Kane stay?
Yeah, exactly. As in Kane saying he's going to stay if he plays in the first game. But
I think the manager is still an unknown as well.
Yeah, there's no uncertainty about Ange Postecoglou.
Well, Gerrard won the league in Scotland. That's not exactly a credential, is it?
Exactly. And I think Spurs know they're going to be in transition. Newcastle made some good signings, overperformed last year, didn't finish the season excellently, but got over the line. And I think they're going to struggle with competing in the Champions League. I think they signed some good players like Harvey Barnes, but I think it's a big ask for them.
They have signed one man that really does not want to be there, though, as well.
Who?
Tonali. Every photograph of Tonali, just the most miserable man on the planet.
I believe that's just being Italian.
Well, I mean, there is that, yeah. But there's no passion from Tonali. It's glum and miserable. Scott?
Yeah.
I actually think I have the same top six as Paddy, but I've gone with City and Arsenal top two. I just think out of all the teams, I think looking at them, they're like one of the only two teams that have no issues with their squad. Yeah. I have Liverpool and United, and I have Liverpool third, but it's kind of like switch. They could go either way. I think Liverpool United, they could be third or fourth equally.
I agree, yeah.
I think Liverpool, we just don't have enough midfielders, and we need another centre-back. And I think United, I think Hodgson is...
Still don't have a striker.
Yeah, he's a signing for the future, but I still think United will struggle with goals like they did last year.
His injury as well is worse than... Well, it seems like it's worse than it's being reported.
According to the Muppeteers on Twitter, it's not. It's being wildly overblown, and it's just a small issue that they need to take care of in the short term.
I don't know. I worry. I think the thing is, if you sign a player like that, you obviously don't sign him for that sort of money if it's a serious issue. At least. But it's United.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they do.
And then I have Chelsea in fifth, and I have Villa in sixth. I just think Villa have just signed.
You've gotten Villa as well.
Yeah, I think I like the Diaby signing. Kingman Watkins up top. I like the Tielemans signing. Pau Torres and Diego Carlos at the back. Emi Martinez in goal. They just have a great spine to their team.
Scott, you and I have the exact same top 6.
Yeah.
Just with United and Liverpool swapped around. The exact
Yeah.
same.
Paddy, was yours in order? Was yours in order?
Yeah. Mine was in order. I had Chelsea at 5th. And then Villa at 6th.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
So now we have to see what yours is.
I've got a different top 6 and a different order. Admittedly, your Villa pick in 6th, I've gone for somebody else in 6th. But I've gone City to be the first team in Premier League history to win 4 league titles in a row. I've gone Man United 2nd, which is
optimistic.
I think realistic. I think Ten Hag has now had the backing in 2 transfer windows that demands that he is in a title race. I don't think he can afford to not be in a title race this season.
I think the thing is he was backed with the money, but do you honestly think, as in the money that we signed the striker with Hodgland, he might be out longer. There's rumors saying that he can't play 2 games in a week for a while. Yeah. It's not really like the need is the striker, but I don't know.
I think the way that Man United will set up this season with Anana playing that sweeping role changes the way that they play, and they're not going to be so easy to get at anymore. And that was their problem with conceding goals last year, was they were so easy to get at. You pressure one side of the defence, the goalkeeper you can't go back to the goalkeeper, and they're hoofing the ball out of play. It's not going to be like that this season. They have technicians in the midfield. They've got weapons up front. Yes, fair enough. The striker issue is still a bit of a question mark. But they've got Garnacho, they've got Sancho, they've got Rashford, they've got Martial when he's fit.
He's never fit. Like
he's
never fit.
That's a big if.
Yeah, that's as in I could think of things more reliable than Rashford, and there's
1935 Morris Minor. Yeah,
genuinely, I think I'd rely on some of the teams in the U team over him.
Well, again, that's an option. There are some players in the youth team, but again, not that you're going to trust. But I think Højlund does better than we think this year.
I'd be shocked if he gets 10 goals.
I'm willing to have a bet with you live here on the Attacking Football podcast that he gets 20 goals this season across all competitions.
20?
Well, yes, I will take that bet, but we are not encouraging gambling on this podcast.
Not betting money. I will bet a forfeit.
Okay. What are you thinking?
Well, we can do a forfeit that has to be performed on the podcast. One
of us has to wear Liverpool. One of us has to wear a Liverpool jersey during an episode.
I will be there no matter what.
There we go. Anyway, let me do the rest of my top 10. So I've done you a favour, Scott. I've put Liverpool in 3rd, even though I'm really sceptical about that because you still only have 2 senior midfielders in your squad.
And no defensive midfielder.
2 senior midfielders in your squad. You could theoretically add a 3rd by saying Thiago Silva. Not Thiago Silva, by saying Thiago Alcantara. But
Curtis Jones?
Senior.
Curtis Jones.
He's still a youth player.
He's 23, 24 now, isn't he?
I'd say Harvey Elliott is a senior player as well.
Yeah, but he's young as well.
Yeah,
I think he's going to have a good
season. They're not
season.
Established Premier League players, are they?
Curtis Jones has had about 100 Premier League games.
100 Premier League games for Liverpool? Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, Klopp has also trusted Harvey Elliott in some of our biggest games as well. So
either way, the squad depth in midfield is not there. You don't have it. Even if you were to say that he was an established Premier League player, which I'm disputing, you still have 2 other midfielders that have never set foot in the league.
Yeah, there is that risk. But the thing is, Trent could also play in midfield.
Yeah, but he can't and he won't.
He can though. In the academy, he played as a midfielder.
That's very different levels. Okay, so in that case, he
played there for England as well. He played there for England as well.
Against who?
Malta.
Respect Malta.
You're making my point for me here.
The Maltese national team.
I don't think Virgil van Dijk is the same player since he came back from injury. He doesn't have the
legs.
Aura. He doesn't have the aura that he likes to defend with. I don't think people are afraid of him anymore. I don't think he's as quick as he used to be. I don't think he backs himself. I don't think he trusts himself. He's even being embarrassed for the Dutch national side, and they're playing 3 at the back. I think Van Dijk is a worry this year. I also think your forward line, apart from Salah, is a little bit worrying in terms of output.
I don't think so.
That would be a heavy disagree.
I disagree as well. I look at players like Diaz. Diaz can get 15 plus goals and assists. Same with Nunes. Nunes, if he starts firing, he'll get 20 goals.
Jota as well. Even
Jota,
Gakpo.
yeah. Gakpo as well.
Gakpo in the season with 8 goals, and he joined in January.
I think Liverpool have like 5 forwards who could start from most sides in the league.
And where are they being fed from?
Each other.
Brent, McAllister, Szoboszlai.
So Manchester United had this issue
Robertson.
for a number of seasons where they had a fairly decent defence, a fairly decent attack, and nothing in the middle, and couldn't score goals and conceded all the time. Either way, I'm putting Liverpool at 3rd.
It's still
I'm worried about the
respectable.
midfield, but Arsenal's 4.
That's a big shout.
I don't understand that, considering I think they've improved and they were so good last season.
I don't see an issue in their squad.
No,
I think they overperformed last year.
Maybe striker, you could argue.
Again, I don't. It's not just that. On paper, 11 against 11, Arsenal are a very, very good side. You take Ødegaard out of that side, who replaces him?
Declan Rice.
Kai Havertz.
Ødegaard. Kai Havertz is not a good player. We've had this conversation on this podcast before.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, as in you
Kai
look...
Havertz, not the same.
I mean, Emil Smith-Rowe there as well.
Trossard.
Yeah, Trossard.
Trossard's a winger.
Trossard can play in centre attack and mid.
Shouldn't.
He's played a lot there for Belgium and for Brighton.
I mean, if Varane or Martinez gets injured at United, who replaces them?
Well, depends on who United sign.
So it's kind of the same argument.
Exactly. Well, Maguire will end up at West Ham.
Yeah, so it's got
I strongly believe of that. And according to Fabrizio Romano, there is already a replacement lined up for Maguire should he leave. So I'm not too concerned about
that. Probably
Tobito, exactly. In terms of Arsenal, I just don't see them having the strength to maintain a Champions League challenge, a Premier League challenge, like they did last season. I think the only reason Arsenal did as well as they did last year is because Liverpool and Chelsea weren't playing well. Otherwise, they would have been in the top 4, but I don't think they would have challenged for the league.
I disagree.
I disagree.
Arsenal had the first half of the season where they were immense.
I think the argument you just made there fits with Newcastle, but not Arsenal. I think Newcastle done well because everyone else was doing bad. But I think Arsenal...
Same with United, you could argue.
Just looking at the way Arsenal were playing was just phenomenal.
Well, let's go on to Chelsea then, because they're my number 5 pick.
I had Chelsea in 5th as well.
Yeah,
all of us did, yeah.
They'll just miss out on Champions League. I think it's more a case of they've got so many bodies.
5 Champions League spaces, I think, isn't there?
No.
Is the new rules or something coming in?
Yeah, there's a new format coming in. Top 5 get Champions League.
Is it 5 now?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll have to proof check that.
Yeah, I know the Champions League format the following year changes to it's a 1 league system,
yeah, it's
isn't it?
36.
Rather than
it's 36 teams, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe, actually, because the ranking system for leagues, you get an extra league for an extra place for being in the top 4 leagues, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe it is 5.
I think the issue with Chelsea is just with Nkunku being injured, who plays as attacking mid? Is it Chukwuemeka, or do they sign another attacking mid?
I think they have a bigger midfield issue than Liverpool actually have as well. They've got Enzo Fernandez and Conor Gallagher, and then the rest are just a bunch of youth players.
Yeah, they need a defensive midfielder badly, and I don't think they're going to get Caicedo.
Yeah, I don't
think they are either. Brighton are not going to let him go.
Brighton don't need to sell.
No, they've made enough money.
Yeah, they don't need to sell.
I think the other element with Chelsea is I don't think that squad have been together long enough to have fought. Certainly not been together long enough with a consistent coach to have formed a coherent style of play.
I think as well they still have the issue with striker up top.
Yeah,
Nicholas Jackson, unproven. Good preseason, obviously, but Premier League is a different kettle of fish altogether.
Martial had us all believing that he was going to win the Ballon d'Or in preseason,
and that he didn't have hamstrings or cheese strings or fucking hamstrings.
That is true. And then moving away from Aston Villa, I went Newcastle 6th. I think they're just about good enough to make it into the top 6.
Yeah, I think the position from 6, 7, 8 is just so competitive as well.
Tough, isn't it?
Yeah. I just think Villa are interesting to me because they carried on form. I think Newcastle signed well, but Eddie Howe worked miracles. They're ahead of schedule. And Champions League, they'll struggle. Brighton as well. They've got depth, but I also think they worked miracles last season. And then Spurs are a team in transition. So I think anybody from them can get top 6.
I think it's anyone. You could throw a hat, and whichever one it lands on, I'd be okay with.
Yeah,
I would. And do you know what? I wouldn't mind any of them getting into the top 4 either. I think it could go It could go either way.
I think Villa could even be a sneaky shout for top 4.
Yeah. Okay, so top 6 argument is not done, but we did it.
Well, 2 of us agree. And we
And
agree on the top 5.
I'm the outlier, as always.
No, but we
fine.
agree
I'm
on the
okay
top
with it.
5.
Yeah, we actually do, yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Just
It's
the
not
order was different.
Yeah. Let's do bottom 3 then. Who's going down?
Wolves.
Yeah, I've got Wolves on mine.
I don't have Wolves in my bottom 3, although I might have to change that based on the breaking news that we got as we started recording the podcast, which Paddy is
recording.
The breaking news was...
Oh, sorry, I'm not on the ball. I'm just back from a festival. Well, Julian Lopetegui's going to be sacked, leave his post because Wolves aren't backing him. So,
yeah,
it makes
he wasn't fired. He left. Fabrizio says that they've mutually agreed to part ways, which always means the manager said, "I'm out of here, lads," and they've gone, all right.
I think they're trying to bring in Gary O'Neill.
Yeah, which is not. It's not it.
No, but although I think Gary O'Neill was harshly treated by Bournemouth last year, by the way.
He was, yeah, but it's still not it. I'm not too worried. I think the thing is, he was harshly treated to get laid off, but not a serious, experienced manager who will be firefighting. I think there's better options than Gary O'Neill, and I think even before Lopetegui quit, Wolves are still in my bottom 3 because they were shambles. They've sold Ruben Neves. They've not replaced him. They've also gotten rid of João Moutinho. They've gotten rid of so many players, and they just look like they're going down. And it's all because of FFP, which is nuts. So they're not in your bottom 3. So
no,
who is?
So where did you have Wolves? Did you have them 20th?
No,
I had them 18th.
Same.
You had them 18th.
18th as well.
Okay, so you've gone Scott 18th Wolves, Paddy 18th Wolves.
Yep.
I've gone Bournemouth.
Bournemouth are 19th for me.
I don't have Bournemouth in mind at all.
Bournemouth for me.
You've got Bournemouth to stay up.
Yeah, I don't have them at all.
That's wild.
I think new manager. I think they're a big issue. I think their new manager's class and all that, but I think it's a new division. Difficult. I don't think they signed well. They've signed Patrick Kluivert's son, who a few years ago looks like a massive talent, but just hasn't done it. And then I still think there's trouble in that midfield. And they've lost a few players as well.
Yeah, they have. There's a few that have gone. I really worry about Bournemouth this year. I liked the style of play last year, and they did have some headline results. Notably, I think they beat City.
Yeah,
they had a few. They think they won. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think, again, it's squad depth. They do not have the squad to compete in this league.
I agree. I just think there's 2 other teams that are just worse than them.
Go on, so.
Okay, let's go. Who's your rating? 19th.
In 19th, I've got Sheffield United.
Okay.
They're not in mine.
They've done absolutely no business. That looks decent. They're losing Sander Berge as well, I think, as well.
They are.
Their 2 best players have gone back to City, who they were on loan from.
Yep.
And then in 20th, I think I've got Luton.
Luton are 20th in mine as well.
I've got Luton at 19 and Sheffield United at 20. I think Luton, just by virtue of being everybody's darling team this year, probably. I think they'll get a couple of results. I think they'll get a couple of decent results. And Sheffield United really scare me. I think they're in danger of doing a derby.
I don't think so. I think Luton are. I think you both underrate the experience that Sheffield United have in the Premier League. They have players that were still there.
Got lots of experience of going down.
But they stayed up one season. They have 2 seasons worth of experience of playing Premier League football. It's not new. It's not daunting.
They've only brought in one player of note, though. They brought in Austin Trusty from Arsenal for 5 million, and that's pretty much it.
Transfer window's not closed.
Everton have got a history of never being relegated in their life ever, but they still nearly went down last year. Premier League experience isn't everything if you don't have the players to play.
True, but I just think they've got some players in there. I think... Well, obviously not Ryan Brewster, but like as in the centre-back they have, Anil Ahmedovich, is incredible. I think he'll come up to the Premier League and he'll swim like a fish to water. He's just that good. I think a lot of people will see how good he is. And then you've obviously got John Egan. So they've got a great centre-back pairing there who will support everything from the back. And then Wes Fotheringham, I'm not sure if he's going to be the starting goalkeeper, but I believe he is. And you know what? They could go for Henderson again.
Yeah.
I do think that they've got a better team.
Forest. That's Forest.
I know, but as in Forest they've signed the goalkeeper of Arsenal.
Matt Turner.
Yeah. I know they're in for 2, but it wouldn't surprise me if they had considered going for Henderson again.
Yeah. So, Paddy, you've gone Bournemouth, Luton, and Sheffield United to go down.
No, not Sheffield United. I've gone Wolves, Bournemouth, and Luton.
Oh, so you think Sheffield United is staying up? Okay.
Yep.
And I've gone Bournemouth, Luton, and Sheffield United. Scott, you've gone
Wolves, Sheffield, Luton.
Okay, so we've got 3 different bottom 3s.
But we have got 2 of the same sides.
Yes. Yeah.
We all think Luton go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 of us think Bournemouth go down, and 2 of us think Wolves go down. And 2 of us think Sheffield United go down.
Sheffield United gone down. Yeah, so we've got 4 clubs total spread across the okay. And mate, I love that.
So
I love that.
Yeah,
okay.
It's so we could all look like idiots.
Yeah. And we will.
Yes. Moving on to the next one. We've gone from the worst to the best. It's player of the season.
It is player of the season. There can only be one.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Haaland again, isn't it?
Yep. It doesn't have to be too much conversation. I think the only reason that he doesn't get it is injuries.
I put down KDB just because I didn't want to put down Haaland.
Yeah, I
know. I have Haaland in brackets, so
I thought, you know what, I'll think of something here which is a bit more interesting. But then I was like, you know what? There's no point overthinking it. If he gets injured, it will be somebody else. But if he doesn't, he wins it again.
Haaland-less Premier League. Who's player of the year?
I haven't even thought about it, but it's probably Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah,
it's Kevin De Bruyne, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
really boring.
Yeah.
It could be Rodri for one of those hipster ones, you know?
Yeah, could be. Or John Stones. I tell you what, John Stones had a great season last season.
He did, yeah, but injuries, I just think, but that's the reason why I didn't worry. I think City really managed Haaland's injuries and his fitness excellently last season, and I see no reason why they won't again this season. Moving from that, we move to the young player of the season, where we talk about the young player. We are talking about the PFA's young player of the season, which is young.
Under 23.
Yeah. So considering Foden won it back-to-back and he's 23, we were able to choose a player up to that age. So, Scott, who did you go with?
I went with Martinelli.
Over Saka?
Yeah, I think Martinelli has better output than Saka, and I think generally they usually go with players who have the better output.
Goals and assists last season. Who had more, Saka or Martinelli?
I think
Because
Martinelli.
there is not a single Arsenal fan on Twitter.
You can see Scott's going straight onto Google because his cam's gone brighter.
Every single Arsenal fan on Twitter last year going, Saka is better than Rashford. Look at all these goals and assists.
I think the thing is, Martinelli, I think for me, I disagree with Martinelli purely because of the fact I think he's a rotation risk. If you look at the players at Arsenal who can play his position, there's Trossard, there's Martinelli, obviously, and then there's
Havertz.
And there's also Emile Smith-Rowe, who I believe is going to be playing more as the centre mid, and he in the past he's played as the left wing, but I just think Saka is their man. Saka is the main man for them. But
if you're going to choose an Arsenal player, it's Saka, isn't it?
I don't know. I prefer Martinelli as a player.
I think Martinelli's ceiling's very high, and he obviously doesn't have the English tax, so...
True.
So I went with 2 because I was unsure who this could be. I went with Bukayo Saka for obvious reasons. I think Arsenal are going to do very well again. I didn't think there was anybody in the Man City squad who got substantial enough minutes to be considered for it. You could obviously think of somebody like Rico Lewis, but I don't think he'll play enough minutes. And then I also went for Dominic.
Palmer?
No, I don't think he'll get enough minutes. He could, because he's a right winger. But, I don't think he will. The same with the other lads who were on loan at Sheffield United. I just don't think he will. And then if you look at United, you could also think Garnacho. But I don't think he'll get enough minutes again. But I'm going to go for a player who I think will get guaranteed minutes, under 23. It's going to be either Bukayo Saka or Dominic Szoboszlai. Think he'll come to the Premier League, he'll make that position as an 8 for Liverpool his own. He's got so much talent. I've bigged him up so much before he moved to Liverpool. I think he will take the Premier League by storm. The only way he doesn't perform for Liverpool is if he gets injured.
Or if Liverpool don't perform.
I don't see that being an issue this season. So those are my 2. What about yourself?
Breaking the rules and choosing 2. I've gone Garnacho, and I think the opposite to you. I think he will get enough minutes because I think Rashford will spend the majority of the season at centre forward, and I think Garnacho will then be the standout candidate to play on the left wing. He has been absolutely disgusting in pre-season. Like, genuinely, I was at the Lons game and he ripped them to shreds. It was violent.
If you compare him to Sancho, the difference in direct play is so stark.
They're completely different players. I think Sancho's a bit more intelligent. I think he likes little touches in and out of possession. Absolutely, yeah. And I think Ten Hag did well in moving him into that false 9 position in pre-season, and he excelled. He did really, really well because he likes playing the little give and goes and the clever passes that he played with Haaland at Dortmund. That's why he did so well there.
Because he had Haaland in front of
him. Exactly. I mean, you passed the Haaland on the halfway line at Dortmund, you've got an assist, so it doesn't matter. No, I think this is going to be the start of something special for Garnacho this season. I think this will be the season where all of the other clubs start seeing what we've been watching for the last 8 to 9 months.
Yeah, I think he's a super talent. I just think minutes are the issue. And I think when you look at the position he'll play, it's most likely going to be left wing. And then if he does play left wing, he's got to compete when Højlund does come back with Rashford, with Sancho. I think that's just the issue. I would be shocked to see him get more than 2,000 minutes in the Premier League this season.
I honestly think that Højlund and Rashford will rotate at centre forward. We'll bring in probably Kane next season on a free. And then maybe you'll see Rashford and Garnacho competing for the left wing next season. I think this season it's going to be Garnacho.
Let's agree to disagree on that one.
Right, well, I tell you what, why don't we move to a topic that we're all going to agree on immediately, just like player of the season, and we can just spend 10 seconds on it and move on. Top goal scorer.
Eddie Nketiah.
Darwin Núñez.
Garnacho.
Yeah, Erling Haaland. We all know.
Yeah,
that.
it's going to be Haaland.
Yeah.
It's Erling Haaland. Okay, good.
Okay, who would be the top goal scorer without?
Kane.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Kane.
How boring.
Yeah. Okay, good. There we go.
Yeah, nice and easy.
Why did we do these?
Yeah.
We should have left them out.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is going to underachieve this season? Which club is going to be the biggest underachievers?
Scott, do you want to go?
Yeah, I went with Spurs just because I couldn't think of any other team. Because I think even though I don't have Newcastle in my top 6, I don't think them coming 7th would be an underachievement. So I've gone with Spurs because I think they just won't finish in Europe at all.
I sort of disagree with your sentiment there. I think the expectation is more on Newcastle to perform this season than Spurs. So Newcastle would be my underachiever this season. I think Brighton could also fall substantially.
Yeah. I was thinking Brentford as well.
I think Brentford will finish 13th. Everybody expects them to do that.
Crystal Palace 11th, Everton 12th, Brentford 13th.
Wolves as well. I think we've already said that we think they might get relegated or be down there.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of people think that. Well, they probably didn't before Lopetegui left, but...
Is that Wolves underachieving by being relegated?
Yeah, I think everybody expects Wolves to finish about 14th, 13th.
No, there was a time not long ago when they were in the top 8.
Yeah. But I think Newcastle are going to be my underachievers this season.
They're mine as well. I think with the expectation that's on them, they finished top 4 and made a cup final last season. I think finishing 6th, crashing out of the Champions League, probably in the group stages. They might have a decent cup run in one of the 2 domestic cups, but I think, it's going to be a disappointing season for them. And I think the PIF fund are going to have to dip into their pockets again next summer.
I imagine they get into last 16 in the Champions League.
You think so?
Are they not in like pot 4 or 3 in the Champions League?
I can just imagine them doing it in Europe. I think they're so good defensively that it will work in Europe.
Yeah, it might suit their style, actually.
And I think they'll get into the last 16. They could have a run in the Champions League, which detriments them in the Premier League.
Yeah, true.
Because that's my sort of thought.
Yeah.
I think the thing is we all sort of agree Newcastle Spurs are both going to be underachievers this season in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But speaking on the other end of that, let's go to the overachievers. Who do you think?
I'm going Liverpool. I think Liverpool. I've got Liverpool finishing 3rd, and I think that's overachieving. I think they'll be lucky to break the top 4.
I've gone with the other side of Merseyside and went with Everton.
For overachievers?
Yeah, because looking at who they've brought in and what happened last season, it really shouldn't fill fans with confidence that they will be any better than they were last season. But I put overachievers because of Sean Dyche and because I think there are teams that are worse than them.
Where do you think they finish?
I think they come about 16th, 15th.
Is that overachieving though?
No, they're a top 5 club.
From I have one of my friends at Everton fan, and he's expecting relegation.
Oh,
and I just don't see it.
I think in terms of odds, like as in the relegation odds, I don't even think they're close. They're actually 4th favourite to get relegated alongside Bournemouth. It's
because of their transfers. They haven't really brought anyone in. They brought Dan Juma and they're bringing in a young striker from Sporting.
Dan Juma's good though.
He is good.
I just don't think overachieving is 15th.
No.
I think for them it would be, to be honest, but from what I've heard from Everton fans.
Fair. My overachievers is Aston Villa.
Yeah, but if you've got them in the top 6, then that's fair.
Yeah, I think people probably think they'll finish 8th or 9th. And
did Aston Villa finish in Europe last year?
They did, yeah.
Which
may be a detriment.
Conference League?
Conference League, yeah.
I think they win that.
I think there's a big chance they do. I think they could do a West Ham on it. I think they are good enough to get top 4 on their day. I think they've got depth everywhere. If you look at any position, they've got multiple players there. And they also have... They've just got so much centre-back depth. They've got right-back depth. I know they've only got Matty Cash, but then Constance could play right-back. They've got left-backs. They got Luca Dean. They've got Pau Torres, who could be said to play there as well. They've got Moreno. They've got arguably one of the top 3 goalkeepers in the league in Martinez.
Yeah.
And then, as well as that, Ollie Watkins is the most underrated player in the Premier League.
Ollie Watkins is a good shout. Actually, I think he'll probably finish top 5 goal scorers this year
easily.
Yeah.
He's especially under Emery. Emery, when he came in, said to him, "Stop running the channels. Stay central. Be greedy." And since then, he scored goals and goals and goals.
Yeah.
I think genuinely he will be immense for them next season, as long as he doesn't get injured.
So
I also think Crystal Palace as well will do better than a lot of people think.
no, they're going to be nailed on 11th like they are every single
But
year.
that's no. The thing is, everybody thinks. I think a lot of people think Crystal Palace will go and do quite poorly next season. So I think finishing 9th. I think they could finish 9th or 10th, top half.
They have lost Zaha though.
I think I think losing Zaha is a positive.
Do you think they were a bit one-dimensional with Zaha on the side?
I think they focused on him too much, and I don't think he was the player he was in the past. And I think it was a detriment to the team in a weird way, sort of like Ronaldo was at United.
Yeah.
Everything has to go through him.
Yeah.
And then they have players like Eze and Elise, who I think are better.
They are very good players.
Yeah. So,
although I think one of them may end up moving this summer.
I think they're fortunate that Elise is injured.
Yeah. Chelsea or City probably would have went in for him.
I think City are looking at Eze for
no, it's Elise.
Replacement.
It's Elise. Yeah.
But he's a Mahrez replacement.
I think they're very fortunate that he got injured.
Yeah.
Moving on from overachievers, we go to flops. So I think we might all agree on one of them.
Hang on. Are we not? Oh, flop signings.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we might all agree on one.
Yeah. Well, I will say it. Actually, let's just do it on 3, 2, 1. On the one that we all think it's going to be. 3, 2, 1. Kai Havertz. Well, I don't know what we all said.
They were all different. I said Nkunku.
God, who did you say?
I said Hodgland.
Yeah, we didn't agree on that one anyway.
No. To be fair, Havertz was my second. I did go Havertz.
Yeah, I did Nkunku second. Only because he got injured.
I have Hodgland up there.
You think he'll be a flop? Is it possible to be a flop at 20 years old?
I think it's possible
I
when
think
the
it's
fee
possible
is that much.
for the price tag. Yeah. Definitely possible.
Yeah,
I think even if he gets 9 goals, which will probably be a decent season for him at United, he'd still be labelled a flop just because of the fee.
Have you got a Liverpool shirt that's big enough for Paddy to wear?
Rude. I'll just buy one. DHgate. I'll buy 3XL. That's grand. But you don't have to worry about it. I also have another one in my flop, and it's going to be Mark Flecken at Brentford.
Yeah, he looked awful in pre-season.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Awful.
I think he's come in there with the knowledge he's going to be their number 1 stopper, and he's looked terrible in pre-season. And I know in the Bundesliga he's looked class, but I think the issue is after the pre-season he's had, moving to a side which are so dominant in terms of ball playing, football, possession, everything like that, where the goalkeeper's so important to the build-up, he could be a flop.
I still think... See, I thought it was going to be Nkunku before he got injured.
He's great in pre-season.
Okay, but again, pre-season Pirlo. Yeah. That's all I need to say to you.
I was only thinking of him because he got injured.
But I said this in a previous podcast. It was actually, I think, in episode 1 or episode 2. I think Nkunku will flop because I don't think he fits the way that they want to play.
I think he's played well in their 4-2-3-1 in the hole behind Jackson Martinez. Yeah. And I think if he was expected to play as a striker, that's where the issue would be.
Maybe.
But I think as long as they have a striker in front of him, I don't really see him being a flop, because he would be judged as a flop based on the fact he wouldn't score enough goals.
Yeah.
I'm surprised none of us said Mount.
Mount was in my lists. Mount was in
If
my
we're
list.
talking bad pre-seasons, it doesn't get much worse than the pre-season he had.
I
played every game.
I think when I said it over Twitter like so many times, and on Twitter I get called an idiot so much it doesn't really faze me anymore.
Yeah.
But I think we made the wrong signing out of the English midfielders that were available this summer, and I think Spurs got the better one.
Maddison, yeah, I agree with that. I think Maddison's the better player.
I do as well. Moving on from the do you have any more flops?
No.
Then moving on from the flops, we're finishing up with signing of the season.
I'm going to take the lead on this one. I've chosen a player that I think so transforms the club that they've gone to, it would be impossible not to pick him. And it's
Harvey Barnes.
Onana. Andre Onana.
Um,
Onana is the kind of player that club has needed for 5 years. And I think it just changes the entire complexion of everything that they do. He's the most important signing that Ten Hag will make in his tenure.
I think Andre Onana goes one way or the other. There's no middle ground for him. I think he could either be the signing of the season or the flop of the season. He could be he could be a Barthez, or he could be a Van der Sar. He's got the eccentricity of Barthez, but he has the Ajax background of Van der Sar.
He does.
So it could go
it's
either
interesting.
way.
I was watching the Højlund interview on METV. Sorry, boys. And he was talking about Onana because they said you played against him last season. What did you think? And the first thing Højlund said was the coach told us not to press him because you can't press him, which echoes what Pep Guardiola said. And that's what Manchester United needed. Everybody knew you go and press David De Gea and he gives the ball away.
Yeah. It's the issue then is we have Varane. Who then you press? Do you remember last season when we played against Leeds, and Leeds instead of pressing David De Gea, they let the ball always go from De Gea to Varane, so the ball's higher up, so they can press more, target him. I think next season that could be the trigger press. That might be the player that's targeted. And it's actually smarter to press at that position because you don't expose yourself so high up the pitch by pressing higher. If anything, that could be the target next season. And that's something that worries me slightly. I don't think he's press resistant whatsoever. I think if you put him onto his left foot, he shits the bed.
That is true, but I still have nightmares of our own goal kicks when Luke Shaw would have the ball, he'd pass it to David De Gea, both the centre-backs would split, and suddenly, bollocks.
Yeah. I think all we have to look back on is the Brentford game where De Gea just passed it to Pogba. Was it Pogba? No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It was Eriksen.
It was Eriksen.
And then got turned over instantly. I think the thing is, we won't be making any more silly passes like that. There'll be a lot more smart, intelligent plays from the goalkeeper.
Scott?
Sorry.
Sign into the season, Scott.
I went for Alexis McAllister. I just think he's from pre-season, just the way he turns with the ball and he's instantly looking to play it forward is just something we've lacked for years. It's even something a midfielder like this we've been asking for since the days of Gini Wijnaldum, and now we have him now at the club, and I think it's just going to be great for us.
I think there's no denying the boy's quality.
I can deny it.
I think he's a special player. He really is, but not to keep bringing things to Man United, but Varane was a special player and he didn't fit the United team. I think it's going to be the same with McAllister.
I don't see it. I've never seen it. I think the thing is with McAllister, he looked so good at Brighton because he took all the set pieces, he took the penalties, and then people see, oh, he's a great goal scoring midfielder. He's a great penalty taker, and he won the World Cup because Messi dragged Argentina to the World Cup. So a lot of people are going to go, how can you not rate a World Cup winning player? Some terrible players have won the World Cup.
Yeah.
Paul Pogba.
Cleberson.
I'm going to get fucking milled by that Pogba comment. I'm joking.
You're not though, are you?
No,
By the way,
Pogba's a great player on his day.
Do you know what else Pogba is? Injured again.
Shocker. But Pogba at his peak was world class.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think McAllister was one of Argentina's best players during the World Cup, and I think he didn't start in their starting 11, and they didn't look great, and then he got put in, and they went on and won it.
We can agree to disagree. I don't think he'll be signing this season anyway. I think
who do you think is going to be signing of the season?
So there's a few here. So it depends. I've gone with I couldn't really choose one, to be honest.
That's kind of the point of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know. So I'll just go with the player from the team that I think. So yeah, I think Villa do the best out of the teams here, but I just think the transition from the Bundesliga probably won't do it. So I'm just gonna go safe and go James Maddison. I think if Harry Kane,
Spurs coming nowhere.
Doesn't matter. Harry Kane was one of the best players in the Premier League last season, and Spurs still came nowhere.
I can't see a
this
signing
was
of the season not being in the top four.
You see, this was my issue here. As in, I had Moussa Diaby, who I think has looked amazing in preseason, one of the best wingers in the Bundesliga, and I thought he could go on to be one of the best in the world. But then, so did Leon Bailey, and then I also have Harvey Barnes, who's signed for Newcastle. So I think Diaby, Barnes, Maddison go on to be three of the best signings of the season, but they're playing for sides that I don't think are going to perform. So the duality of man there.
You painted yourself into a corner there, haven't you?
I really have. I just think they're the best signings of this, like, that I can see. But if I was going for one from a team that that I think are going to perform well,
I tell you what, let's do it a different way for you, Paddy. Out of all of the signings that you've seen happen in the Premier League this season, which one do you wish your club had made? You can have Szoboszlai, you can have Maddison, you can have Harvey Barnes, you can have Pau Torres. Who do you go for?
Well, like, because if I'm looking at United, it's got to be a right back.
That's it.
Yeah.
Matt Doherty the only right back that's moved?
Yeah, I cannot think of a right back that's happened in the Premier League off the top of my head.
I mean, you could say Timber.
Julian Timber.
Okay, so if I was to sign one player, it would be Declan Rice.
Okay, so that's going to be signing of the season for you then, surely.
Yeah, fair. I'll go with that. Declan Rice will be signing the season. I think he had steel to Arsenal that they haven't had. I think he as a captain is something they need.
Yeah.
And I think he's a player who generally just improves that team immensely.
We got there in the end.
Fair. There we go. So that has been the Attacking Football Podcast. If you have enjoyed us and you want to stick around for future videos, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. Also, if you subscribe, you know what that means. If we're wrong, you get to call us all idiots.
Yeah, you can tell us.
See ya.